Today is a good day because we are going to talk about the most important part of your bike, your tires. The tires can really affect your speed, your enjoyment, your safety. A lot depends on these things, and this subject is so vast and complicated that we're just going to cover one brand. Happen to be the gorilla in the space. It's Maxxis. Maxxis has more than 50% share of the mountain bike market because they have a lot of offerings, they have a lot of technology, and they have a few good tires. So the good news of tires is you could try many like underwear, you know. It's not like a big commitment like a bike. They have a lifespan of a few hundred miles, so you can just go through them, a couple $100 of investment, and you are able to change your experience and depending on what you're into or what bike you're using. So that's the good news. The bad news is mountain bike tires is the great big compromise of the sport. Compromise like this: on one end is speed and weight, and on the other end is grip and durability. They are completely polar opposites, so they're on different sides of the spectrum, and every tire and every technology fits somewhere in between these two extremes. Okay, so we're going to go through their tires. We have a list on MTBR, and we have buy it links as well if you want to purchase it and help out the site. But what we're going to do, because I'm into it, is we're going to start on the max grip, max durability, max safety, max fun, I think, and then we're going to work our way down, you know, rather than start in the middle or start on the XC Weenie tire. So we're gonna go here on the fun stuff, which is the kind of mountain biking that most people want to do, is somewhere on this end. All right, you set? So the first tire we are going to cover is the Big Daddy, introduced not too long ago. It's the Maxxis Assegai. The Assegai has the most grip, the most predictable cornering of the Maxxis line, but on the other hand, it also is the slowest of the tires. So the pros of it is lots and lots of traction, and the second most important thing is it's a predictable cornering, especially on the front tire. You know, good braking, you know, good protection, and as the going gets rough, the Assegai gets better. The more aggressive you are, the more you trust this tire, the more it's not going to let you down. On the con side of this tire is it is slow rolling. You know, if you have to cover a lot of miles, a lot of climbing, this is not going to help you. In a 3,000 foot climb, I'd say it's going to cost you about 500 feet, especially if you have it on the rear tire. The next tire we're going to cover is the primary reason why Maxxis is the gorilla in this space. Yeah, this tire was introduced 20 years ago. 20 years ago. We've seen the sketches. It's the Maxxis DHF. So the DHF and the DHR are brothers in arms, but the DHF is the one that's really unique. This one has 20 years ago, introduced these big, chunky knobs with a lot of cuts or siping. And it really provided the shift of mountain biking from a road racing, cross-country, XC Weenie background to more of a fun, descending, a little more moto style of riding. So it really, the sport was moving that way anyway, but this tire really allowed that transition to occur quickly and a little more safely. So the pros are impressive grip across a wide range of conditions. Braking is very good, steering is good as well, and it rolls pretty okay for such a knobby tire. You know, I think this tire unseated the Nevigal, the Kenda Nevigal, and that one was just hideous. Good grip, but hideous in terms of rolling. The cons of this is always it wears kind of quickly. I don't know why. The knobs are so square and so tall that it wears fast. the DHF also lacks transition knobs, so there can be a moment of uncertainty when transitioning between the knobs, which leads us to the next tire, the Minion DHR. So DHF, DHR are a very good couple, and the DHR is often used as a rear tire because of two main reasons. One is it rolls pretty darn good for what it is, and second, the braking is pretty amazing on this tire. So very good grip, and braking traction is where it excels, and it rolls well for such a big tire. In fact, if you have an application where you want the most braking, you know, a lot of crazy corners that kind of jump out at you, people put the DHF, the DHR on the front and rear as well. So you have kind of the max braking combo. Fourth tire we'll cover is called the Maxxis Dissector. This one addresses some of the weaknesses of the DHR, especially as a rear tire. It's fast rolling, it's predictable, and it has good traction, especially in wet conditions. So the cons, you know, this is usually used as a trail tire. You know, there's some faster trail tires out there. And another con is the braking action or prowess of this tire is not awesome. The next tire we'll cover is kind of an oldie but goodie. It's the Maxxis High Roller 2. So this is one of the oldest tires in the lineup, and just like, you know, you have the Kenda Navigal or the Panaracer, what do you call that, Fire XC Pro. You know, tires is a very hard habit to break. Because you get used to it. You know what it feels like. All right, the next tire we're going to cover as we decrease in grip is called the Maxxis Aggressor. So the Aggressor has a lot of these short but firm knobs, a lot of siping again, and what it does is it covers the gaps in the tire. So it's a very predictable tire. It rolls really good. It's got pretty darn good braking traction. So you know, it doesn't have that big channel on the to the side knobs, so fairly easy to ride. The cons of it is there are better front tire options in the Maxxis line, so it's more of a rear tire, and it's more of a supporting actor in a drama series, so to speak. So that's the Maxxis Aggressor, but this tire becomes very useful for later on in the video in the combination section of the video. Next tire we'll cover is the Maxxis Recon and Recon Race. What it does very well, so this is more of a cross-country tire. It performs well in a wide range of conditions. It does a good job balancing traction and speed for XC and trail use, and you can use it in different widths. Often when you go very wide, like 2.6, 2.8, the tire becomes very slow, very heavy, but the Recon can do this without too much of a compromise compared to like a Minion, for example. The cons is it does lack grip of the more aggressive trail tires, and it's slower rolling than the Ikon, which we'll talk about next. So on the Recon now, you know, tire pressure is always important, but on the Recon is even more important because now you're relying on your casing much more for your traction if you need a lot of that. So you want to air down on these. Okay, and the last tire we're going to discuss, maybe the second to the last, is the Maxxis Ikon. So the Ikon, very tight, closely spaced knobs to give you that good rolling resistance. So it's a fast rolling tread pattern for sure, because there's always tread contacting the ground, predictable cornering, and the cons is while cornering is predictable, it falls off the edge. You know, there's not a lot of side edge, and it does best in dry conditions because it's a very busy tread pattern. Okay, I'd say the last tire we are going to cover is called the Maxxis Ardent and Ardent Race. So Ardent is one version of the tire, and when they go race, they go super XC on it. There's also the Aspen, but we don't want to go there. That's not as common, very special purpose. So the Ardent and Ardent Race. And so when you want to win an XC race, either at the high school level, the World Cup level, then you start going with these tires. And what they offer you is, you know, a good tire quality, good build, but really, remember that figure I showed you? They're here on the speed and weight. So the other thing these things do is weight, you know. A lot of tires are 1,000 grams now for 29er and big, and these tires are about 600 grams, and that's why you need to be competitive in a cross-country race these days. All right, what we're going to cover next are these crazy Maxxis terminologies. I think someone's getting paid there by acronym, and that's why you have so much of this 3C, Maxxis, Fastera, TR, DD, and it's kind of confusing. I'm like, what are you going to get? Whatever's in stock, right? So what's happening is there's two categories they're trying to solve. One is puncture protection and one is rubber quality and grip. And they're not really related to each other, but they both have their acronyms. So let's cover puncture protection first. What they have is EXO, which is their base, very good level of puncture protection. EXO Plus, you know, about 25% better protection than EXO. And then double down. When you go to the bike park, and you don't care about all that climbing, double down is what you want. So EXO, EXO Plus, and double down. All right.